Well, I think people want to hear about. I think they want to hear about your new job.
Okay.
How you feeling?
I'll let you be the interviewer.
All right, you're good. You have a few people on there actually.
Really cool. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully everyone can hear it. And but if you can't, then we'll try to work things out with questions or whatever. Maybe I don't know if there's a chat maybe that we can use.
Are we live right now?
Yep.
Oh, okay, great.
Cool. So we're going. So thanks for everybody joining us.
We had somebody said hello, hearing great.
Okay. What's that? They're all hearing great?
Yeah, your friend in Vermont said hello, hearing great.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Yeah, so yeah, thanks a lot for joining us. So we were doing coffee chats for a couple of you did 2 or 3, I think, last fall, and then with all the transition that's going on with the village and with the town, I think we were doing some transition of personnel. And we weren't able to do them, but now we're back. Thank you, Tammy, for setting this up. You're the best. You are the bag of chips and all that, as it was just described. So thanks a lot. So we're going to be here just talking about different things. Everybody knows Greg Duggan, I assume.
Yeah, just quick introduction. Greg Duggan. I'm the town manager. Chief Hoague, Chief of Police. Tammy Getchell's behind the camera here. You can't see her. There's her wave.
Yeah, so we're just going to be just chatting, basically talking about some things that are going on in town, and of course there hasn't been any news in town lately.
No, not at all. No, very quiet couple weeks.
It's been pretty quiet lately. Yeah, so I guess I'm just going to start. With as far as the police departments go, we're moving along as we always are. I think we're doing okay. I didn't come here to exactly talk all about the police department, but that's my specialty. So I think we wanted to welcome Greg to his new job, though, and see how that's going for you.
Thanks.
It's been, what, a month and a half now?
Oh, God, it was the end of February, so I'm coming up on 3 months at this point.
Up on 3 months in the new job, and hopefully you're adapting to that well and finding it. You were assistant manager before, so.
Correct. Yeah, I've been here for a while. I've been coming up on 10 years in Essex, so I've been here for a bit. I started out as the planner and then started doing assistant manager work in addition to being a planner, and deputy manager for a few years, and now town manager. So It's been a progression for me, and it's good. It's a good next step. A lot going on. We got great people, which help a lot in terms of just being able to have staff step right in, support me. Select board's been good, and it's been a time of transition, new time for Essex, and figuring out what Essex is going to be after the village separation. So, giving a lot of thought to that, just making sure we're setting ourselves up for the future and going there. So it's been a good start, and good support.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, like you said, we've got a lot of good people that have stayed with the town, and there's still some great folks that work in the village too, at the new city. So I think that that relationship going forward, I know for the police department is not going to change. I mean, it's going to be the same as it was for the last 42 years, and that's basically we're going to be serving the city and the town the same as we always have, and I don't see that changing. At least for the average citizen is not going to see any difference in their police services. For us on the police department side, at least at the management level, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be we'll be going to 2 meetings now, and we'll be dealing with 2 different groups, which is okay. Certainly not an issue with that, and but other than that, I mean, I think we're gonna see seamless transition as far as the police department goes. So we've got the Memorial Day parade coming up this week.
That's a big one,
and that is a big event for us as far as the police department, with all the traffic that gets diverted and everything. So we've been putting that together for the past few months, and this is the first time that we have done the parade under my leadership. Unfortunately, we didn't have the parade the last 2 years because of COVID, unfortunately. So anyway. Yeah, come on. Yes, come on over. We can get you a chair over there if you like. So we got a couple people who have joined us.
More chairs.
We'll see who else comes and grab some chairs if we need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a really flexible. So, hi, how are you? Hi, I'm Ron Hoague. I'm the chief of police.
Very nice to meet you.
Greg Duggan, town manager.
And I didn't shake your hand either. I'm Ron. Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming out.
Well,
You guys are
I
from
haven't
Essex,
lived
I-
just in
Yeah.
the town.
Okay.
Great.
I guess I just still don't just live in. Well, yes, I do now, except for a couple of years. So things are happening. So I thought I'd like to know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you for
Absolutely.
coming, both.
Hi, Margaret.
Everybody.
Chief Hoague was just talking about the Memorial Day Parade. Maybe
Yeah.
up on that, we can open up some questions. But
Yeah, so-
the security measures in place for that.
Yeah, we're working with the village and town public works right now to finalize their plans for. Over the last few years, we've staged trucks around the five corners to prevent someone from driving through the crowds that are there. We've seen that happen in other parades around the country, and we want to make sure that we're not doing that or allowing that. So we're working with village and town public works to be able to put those vehicles in place. We've got some other security measures that we're taking that I'd rather not talk about publicly, but there'll be some other security measures as well. Yeah, we're looking for a great day. We're hoping it's going to be nice weather, at least for folks to come and see it. Like I said, the Memorial Day Parade is a big event for Essex, and we haven't had that for 2 years now.
Yeah, that's a huge event in Essex. So
Yeah.
feel excited to have it coming back in.
Absolutely, I think so. I think most everyone is, and yeah, it's going to be good. I'm planning on a large crowd, so I'm hoping that'll work out great. So yeah, so I don't want to spend the whole time talking.
No.
We've got some folks here that have joined us. So does anybody have anything that they wanted to mention or talk about?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. I live near the Essex Elementary School.
Yeah.
And that stoplight at the corner of 128 and 15, number one, certain times of day the traffic is backed up.
Oh,
I live in that area, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, where do you live?
I live up on Route 128.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, I'm looking out my door and the traffic's backed up past the elementary school in the morning. So the other thing is, I don't know whether it's just there's a lot of new construction out there, or whether it's the fact that the motorcycles like sitting at the light and not hitting another stoplight until they get to Milton.
Yeah.
But it's not. There's a lot of noise.
Yep.
A lot of noise.
Yep.
And it used to be when you got your car inspected, if it had a loud muffler, it didn't pass. And nowadays, I hear car after car going by with loud mufflers.
Right.
What's the story with that?
So two things. That's two separate questions there. So
Okay.
the intersection there is a state intersection, so we don't really control the flow of it, unfortunately. I know there's some issues there. Certainly, I know I've been sitting in that traffic before.
Oh yeah.
For as far as motorcycles, there right now in the town there is not a noise ordinance. Right
I
now.
know there isn't for motorcycles.
Right, but there are traffic regulations, obviously, for like defective equipment and that type of thing. What we run into sometimes is that some of the judges will write a ticket for excessive noise off of exhaust or something like that. Some judges don't like to prosecute those because they feel like it's understandable, or they don't really feel like it's a minor crime or a charge or whatever, so they don't like
They
prosecuting.
should live where I live.
Well, yeah, I hear you.
Car after car, plus in addition to all the big warehouses that they built.
Yes. So you got a lot of
Semi
trucks.
after semi. I don't go out without seeing
Right.
a big tractor trailer.
Yeah, that's a busy road, Route 15, and it goes up to the industrial parks. Yeah.
And I'm concerned. We've had trucks come on Route 15 to make that turn towards the junction
Yes.
and take out telephone poles because they didn't know. So if we contact the state and say, look, you need better signage warning that this is a sharp corner.
Right.
Or something, or it's a residential area,
Right.
slow down.
Yeah, you're the second person that I've heard from in the last month about that intersection,
Yeah.
about changing the design of it. And I'm not sure what the state could do to change the design of that intersection, but maybe there's something more that they can do.
It's just it's such an old section of the town,
Sure.
old houses
It is.
and historic buildings.
It is.
how are you going to make them live in the environment?
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that. Yeah, I don't know. The houses are relatively close to the road there, so I don't know how you would do that. Certainly, it wouldn't be a bad thing. Maybe for you to send a request to the select board. Maybe they would consider
I've
sending
talked to the select board.
consider sending a letter to the state and seeing if they would do a study there, see if there's something more that they could do.
And didn't they do a study about that corner up where Weed Road comes in?
Yes.
And that got sent to somebody, and we never heard anything more about it.
That's still with the state. So we did a speed study. Our Public Works Department did a speed study. Sent the information to the state, asked if they looked into it as well. The letter going out to the state was a little bit delayed, so they're working on it. They meet only 2 or 3 times a year, the study committee, so they're going to let us know when they're going to take that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still there. It's still there waiting
Yeah,
for them to look at.
and I remember at one time talking to somebody about the motorcycles going up, and the guy said, yeah, I clocked a motorcycle going 100 miles an hour, and I'm trying to pin it on it, and I'm going, what does that mean? Trying to pin it on it.
That's probably a poor choice of words, but I think what he was trying to say is we're trying to figure out who it was driving the motorcycle, so that way we can charge them with it, because it's actually a crime to drive that fast, and not a ticket. It's actually a crime, a criminal charge. So that's probably what the person was talking about. They're trying to figure out and make sure.
Yeah, I don't know if anything
But
ever.
trust me, I know there's a
But,
lot of
you know,
speeding on that road.
I'm out walking my dog in the yard, and 4 motorcycles go by.
I certainly understand that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I see it all the time.
Yeah,
we
you
do
live
have,
up there, yeah.
yeah, we do. I mean, our officers do patrol up there, and we've been spending some time recently up there trying to write tickets because there's a lot of traffic that uses that road coming in from Westford, and it's a straightaway, and it is
Yeah,
you can travel
and they
fast.
love it.
So,
Motorcycles love
yes.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to do the best we can to try to resolve some of that. I will say we've got a lot of traffic in Essex now. It's probably our biggest complaint is traffic.
Yeah.
For that we hear the most is folks with traffic. So we're doing the best that we can with that, but we'll continue trying to get up to 128.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, and the noise ordinance that went from the select board to you guys,
Yep.
and never came back.
Right. So you want me to answer that, Greg?
Sure.
Or you want to answer that?
Well, I can kick it off.
Go ahead.
Can you repeat the question?
Question about the noise ordinance that went to the select board.
Okay.
It went to the select board. There were some concerns.
Well, the select board proposed it, or some.
The police proposed it, so the police were working on some ordinances to update, make their jobs easier, tackle some issues that they saw. One of that is the public nuisance ordinance, which includes noise.
Right.
There were some concerns in there that it was a roundabout way to deal with shooting in town and shooting ranges, which is not the intent.
Loud dogs. And,
But the concern was around the firearms piece of it, which was not the intent to do things.
No.
But so the police took it back to try to see if there's any solutions around that. There really isn't a good easy one. It came up a lot when we looked at the firearms ordinance and how to regulate that stuff and not. So there's not really a good way to not subject firearms unless you exempt them. In that case, it opens up another can of worms. So
well, I was at the meeting, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, where they talked about the gun ordinance, and that just it was a big can of
Pretty
worms.
contentious.
Big can of worms.
Yeah, it sure was. And that's what we kind of ran into was we proposed this noise ordinance that was part of another ordinance. And that was quickly where it went to was that there were some folks that thought the town was trying to infringe on people being able to shoot at their homes. And that was not the case at all. But now we took it back and we're trying to come up with some type of language that would respect that, as well as being able to accomplish having a noise ordinance in the town.
And hopefully that could also address the issue over Saxon Hollow, that recycling place that has trucks and noise all hours.
Oh,
and
well,
night.
and that's part of. They have a state permit to operate 24/7. So they're.
Why did the state do that?
It's an industrial zone, and that's what they were looking for. So they have been working with their employees to try to minimize some of that loud construction vehicle, some of that loud equipment in the late hours, the early hours, to try to have keep operating, but the quieter method in that
Yeah, but
those
it's
times of day.
seriously impacting the real estate values of those homes in that area. They're upset, and I would be furious if I lived over there. So anyway, all right,
Yes.
noise.
Thank you.
Pollution.
Yes. It's all noise pollution. There's a lot of it these days. So
We had a few more people join
yeah,
us.
we had some other folks join us.
Greg
Hi.
Duggan, I'm the town manager.
Yeah, I'm Ron Hoague. I'm the chief. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. So we're just kind of here fielding some questions or talking about things that are going on. So if you guys have something you want to talk about, we're welcome to join in. So absolutely.
I have a comment
Yeah.
for you, and I just wanted to thank you for the police focus on how they handle issues around race.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think the community really appreciates that.
I hope so. We've done a lot of work over
Yeah.
the last couple of years and continue to do it.
Yeah.
We've got some projects that are going on right now that we're going to be doing some more training with the officers. And I'm really happy to hear that. We're trying to. We realize we work for the citizens that they are in their taxes. Yeah, absolutely. We work for all the citizens, and we have to respect that. So yeah, I'm really happy to hear that, and we're going to keep trying to do even more. So.
Sometimes you all hear the complaints.
No, I mean, believe it or not, I hear a lot more compliments than I do complaints. That's absolutely true, and I can't say thank you enough to everyone that gives me those, and I hear a lot of good things every day about our department and what we're doing, and so I appreciate that. Thank you.
I did have a question for you. I was wondering, I know that town is working to get work on community invasive plants in the world. I know.
Yep.
Saturday. I was just wondering if the town has any push to plant native plants, which we know is so important for the ecosystem, for the insects, bees, and that.
I know we encourage it. I'm going to have to check with our town planner, and I can grab your name and get back to you.
Yeah.
Exactly. We do encourage it. You mentioned the invasive cleanup at Indian Brook. That's going on, as you said, this coming Saturday. The town has a whole ash tree management plan, which is dealing around that. So what we're doing there is going through and removing ash trees, a few each year, and replacing them with other street trees, which I want to say are native, but I'm not 100% sure. So, but I can follow up with you on that. But no, I think you're right. It's a good point.
My name's Sue.
Okay.
It's Miyamoto, M-I-Y.
Sure, I'll just let you write it down.
I have a couple questions online.
Okay.
You guys are ready for the next?
Yep.
I think this actually might have been from your subject before, but this is from Lorraine Zaloom, and she says, it is not quite an industrial zone. It is RPD1 though. Does the state understand the zone?
I'm going to leave that more to Greg. Hi, Lorraine, by the way.
Sure. I think they do, but there's local zoning and there's state rules. And so our local zoning is the Resource Preservation District Industrial, which basically says that in that area, 60% of the land is supposed to be reserved for conservation and recreation space. The other 40% is for industrial uses. It talks about being in harmony in nature, so our planning commission try to minimize the impact on nature, but it's also still want to let people develop and go into the development zone. The state looks at it from Act 250, which is a state separate permitting development perspective. So they don't take into zoning, our local zoning, so much as meeting their regulations. So if something meets our regulations and then meets the state regulations, then it's able to get the permits that it needs to go forward. So I hope that answered your question, Lorraine.
She had another question
Sure.
for you. Are we working on an ordinance for firearm, air pistols, bow, and arrow discharge within certain residential density?
We haven't worked on that yet. That is something that has been talked about. That's going to be that's a tough one in the town because there's existing shooting ranges, and that's what we tried to work with a few years ago, and as you were saying, it turned into quite a fight, because we have to respect the current shooting ranges that are there. Although what she's talking about is within a certain density, you can't shoot in a certain dense area or whatever. So there already is an ordinance about no shooting areas in certain parts of Essex now. So that's already been recognized. As far as tightening those up, I think that's going to be something that may come down the road, but certainly we want to respect the folks' rights who also have shooting ranges that are already existing. We have to do that as well. So, but there already is a no shooting ordinance in place in parts of the town. So,
and that mostly coincides with the towards end thicker parts of town.
Yes.
We went through this whole process about 2-3 summers ago. We wrapped up. It was pretty much a 2-year process looking at firearms discharge in Essex. The select board adopted a few changes. They put some more restrictions on where you can shoot in the public areas.
And she did have that you're 24/7 and the toxic issue with the air pollution.
Well, said, and they're an environmental company with a recycling glass. And they're taking recycled material and turning it into construction material. They are found to be really polluting the environment. That would be a brand. Part of it, I think, in harmony with nature can mean a lot of different things depending on who's interpreting it, who's looking at it, and where it's applying. As far as the pollution, I know there's been a smell up there. That's also tied to the 50 to some extent, but I don't want to be, the smell is not necessarily air pollution. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I think we should be careful about what's up there. And Laval has put in some fixes. They've adjusted their exhaust system to try to eliminate that smell or mitigate that smell. So they are trying to take steps and trying to be good neighbors with what they have going on up there.
She mentioned our streaming's cutting in and out. Sorry about that, Lorraine. If any piece of this that you don't actually get here, we can also we can shoot you an email. Try to get you the answer if it didn't come through.
yeah, definitely do that.
Hope it's working. Is it still cutting in and out, or?
Stream still working?
She said no worries.
Okay.
Can you turn it back, Phyllis?